Hey there, speculators. It's Rod, your Futures Fanatic. Welcome back to the channel here on YouTube. Futures Fanatic is part of TDG. That's the Traders Dev Group, where we provide education for active futures traders and self-directed investors. Hey, unless you've been living under a rock, you may have heard, if you're interested in anything in the financial markets, and I assume you would be if you're watching my videos or you've been directed over to this video. Hey, by the way, if it's your first time here, I talk about futures as a great asset class for active day trading. That's what I'm going to talk about tonight. Why don't you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, turn on bell notifications, and leave a comment if you'd like. All those things really do help out this channel, where I can start to spread the good word about why, as I'll talk about in the video tonight, stuff like Robinhood's going public, Warren Buffett, Michael Burry warn, blast the app and warn traders to be careful. Look, that's a talk for another day. I think Robinhood's done a lot of good things. Robinhood is a commission-free trading app. It's been around for 6 or 7 years. Started as mobile only. They say they democratize finance, but really we've had access to trading stocks online since the beginning of the internet, but that's also a talk for another day. But anyway, I think the good for an app like that outweighs the bad. But what I don't have anyone talking about or hear much about is the fact that stocks themselves are really not good for day trading at all, whether you do it on Robinhood or anything else. Now, I hope that's not going to be too controversial. Again, I'm the Futures Fanatic, so I'm going to tell you why I'm fanatical about futures. And if you are interested in day trading in any way, shape, or form, why you need to understand the benefits of the futures markets. Why is my screen freaking out like that? It's moving around. The benefits of the futures markets versus other asset classes. So I put together this cool little presentation tonight. By the way, one other thing, I'm getting a lot of comments about how I can ramble and the videos go on for a long time. So I'll start to leave timestamps, which you can check in the description below, for what I talk about at what particular time. But basically, I'm just going to go through some of the benefits of trading the futures markets tonight, so you don't have to check the timestamps. But I'll be doing timestamps now when I do instructions on how to do other things. All right. Futures are awesome. Here are the reason futures are awesome. Reason number one is they're very capital efficient. Capital efficiency just simply means that you can do more with less money, and you can take proper use of leverage. So futures are levered instruments. I won't go into all of what that means tonight, but one thing you probably do know is that a lot of stocks, especially the big stocks like Facebook, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, things like that, are very, very expensive on a dollar basis, and it's very difficult to buy a whole lot of shares. And if you're interested in day trading or short-term trading, you're probably interested in making money, and you probably know that at some point you have to put on a certain amount of size if you want to have any chance at supplementing or complementing your income. And doing that with stocks is very, very difficult, especially the large, well-known stocks, which will tend to move. So on the flip side, a lot of day traders or newer people to day trading stocks get pushed to penny stocks and OTC stocks, which have a host of other problems, okay? So the futures markets and futures trading of things like stock indices, which I prominently focus on, are very capital efficient, and you can trade them with little amounts of money. And as I'll go through in the presentation a little bit further, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to mention probably the biggest benefit, which is that you can get access to capital pretty easily, or at least you have a lot of choices and people that will give you money to trade the futures markets, and that's not the case with stocks as well. And they'll do that because stocks are properly leveraged and they're not too expensive, so you can do a lot with a little bit of money. All right, reason number two, they're very attractive in terms of what you're looking for, which is average true range. That's just a fancy way of saying, you've probably heard, if you're going to be trading anything, you need it to move up or down if you're going to make money, right? So the whole world of stock trading and things like Reddit and everything else is, what stock's going to move today? What are the earnings? What are the catalysts? What are the announcements? Why is something going up or down? We need to find the things that are moving. And a lot of stock traders will spend a whole lot of time, effort, or even money to buy watch lists or tip sheets or other things like that, or scanners or screeners, or spend all day long on FinViz or all these other sites that are, they're good tools, don't get me wrong, but most people are spending time on there to simply find things that are moving. Well, the futures markets, especially the stock index futures, move every single day, all the time, seemingly random. NASDAQ, S&P, Dow Jones, always going to give you some movement. And the other thing is, since futures were meant for day trading, you can actually go long or short very, very easy. There's a lot of liquidity. So if you're not familiar with shorting stocks, it simply means you are borrowing something and hoping to buy it back at a lower price. In other words, you make money when something goes down. That's talked about a lot in stock day trading education rooms and in the whole marketplace around stock trading. And guess what? It's not all that easy to short stocks, because stocks were not meant to do that. Okay, now you can do that. You can borrow them, you can sell them short, but The futures markets, it's very easy. You push one button, you can go long or short. No worries about borrow. You don't have to pay any margin, anything like that. So again, they move. You can go long or short very easy, and you don't have to worry about scanners, watch lists. You can become an expert in just a couple things. Number 3, you get a pure play. So you probably heard of ETFs or ETNs, exchange traded funds. A lot of people like to trade things like the SPY or the QQQ. Again, I think those are fantastic instruments. They have very low cost structure, but they should be bought and held as investments, or you can use Vanguard low cost index funds or things like that. But if you want to actually have a pure play on speculating on the direction of gold or oil or the stock market, you're better off using the pure plays, which is the futures markets. So you can trade stock indices, metals, energies, interest rates, currencies, agriculture. I wrote currencies on there twice. Crypto, even some of the crypto assets like Ethereum and Bitcoin are now available to be traded as futures. And they're much more pure products, okay? If you think that gold is going to be going up and down, or you have a technical setup for that, and you're messing around with the GLD or GDXJ or gold miners, things like that, or if you want to make a play on oil, that's probably the most difficult things to do. You're buying integrated oil stocks or OIH or USO. Those things are all crap. The futures markets are the pure play because they actually represent, they're a derivative of the actual underlying commodity that you're trading. So reason number 3, you get 50 different products you can choose from, and they're absolutely pure plays. Reason number 4, probably should have led with this, which is that there's no pattern day trader requirement. So just like they're capital efficient, if you're going to trade stocks, you've probably heard of this thing called pattern day trader requirement, or PDT. The regulatory bodies in their infinite wisdom have decided that unless you have $25,000, you're too much of an idiot. Or if you have $25,000 or more, you can afford to lose it all. And that's what you need to do if you want to trade more than 3 times in a 5-day period. It's called the pattern day trader requirement. Another issue I have with this entire huge market around stock trading, day trading stocks, is that they are always talking about how to skirt this pattern day trader rule, where if you're trying to get around a regulatory rule to actually do something or go into a business or have any kind of success, and you're starting with a major hindrance that's not necessarily the asset class or the business that you want to be in. There's no pattern day trader requirement with futures. You can push the button like a drunk monkey if you'd like. I don't recommend that. By the way, I don't recommend anything. Everything here is just meant for educational purposes. Remember, look both ways before crossing the street. Don't eat yellow snow. And if you knew the difference between good advice and bad advice, you wouldn't need any. But I can give you this advice, which is that futures have no pattern day trader rule and are worthy of your consideration. Number 5, pure technical trading. Markets are hard enough to trade, and here's the irony about this, which is that the fact that futures, you don't have to worry about a product or a pot-smoking CEO or earnings or dividends or rumors or mergers or hassles or anything like that. A lot of the time, that's what you're looking for if you're trying to do a screen or a scan for a stock that you want to trade that day because there's some kind of catalyst moving it around. Then you got to assess the float, or what's the news, or how to interpret the news, or how much it's going to actually impact the stock, or how everyone's going to interpret all that information. What a whole heck of a lot of factors that could potentially complicate what is just a pure technical trading setup that you could do in the Dow Jones futures markets every day without having to worry about any of that kind of nonsense. So trading's hard enough as it is. You don't need to have to worry about all those other kinds of things. You can simply just specialize in something like the stock index futures and start your day without having anything to do with all that stuff that a lot of people are actually looking for so they can determine what to trade on a daily basis. Number 6, around the clock trading. So yes, Forex and crypto also trade 24 hours a day. Futures trade about 23/6, so they're open about 65% more time. I imagine that most people watching this YouTube video, you're employed. If you're not, go get a job, folks. Don't expect trading to be your full-time job for quite a while. It's a skill. It takes time to develop, and the best you can hope for is to be realistic about the amount of time it takes. So if you have a full-time job, it's nice to be able to access markets around the clock, and the futures markets are open 23/6. And finally, number 7 is they trade on U.S. regulated exchanges. Well, you could say, well, don't stocks trade on U.S. regulated exchanges? Yes, they do. So this is a difference between futures and things like Forex and crypto, which are other options for you to think about. And a little play on word there, they're not options, they're just other things, other instruments you could trade. So the futures markets trade on regulated U.S. exchanges. You don't have to worry about this funny business about sending your money overseas somewhere, or a broker getting banned from the U.S. because they're trading against their clients, or costs being buried inside of very wide spreads, or market makers working against you. Believe me, there's enough competition out there, people that really are trying to take your money, and algorithms that are predatory, that you don't have to, you shouldn't have to worry about the exchange or the brokers that you're working with. And in case of the futures markets, you're absolutely good to go there. All right, and finally, reason number 8, as I mentioned here, is there are things called prop programs, proprietary trading. One of the biggest issues that people have, not only the pattern day trader requirement, you need 25,000. A lot of people don't have 25,000, but 2,500 or 500 or 5,000 is probably also, you're going to be undercapitalized, even if you're trading capital efficient markets like the futures markets. So for your consideration, I do a lot of other videos. I'll put some links to them here, and I'll put a link to this, and I'll pin it in the description below. A couple of my favorite companies like TopStep Trader, and platforms like TradingView, which is a great charting and analysis platform, web-based, that I talk about here on the channel all the time. They've come together and allow you to trade your TopStep Trader Combine evaluation, where you can get access to trading capital, and you can use TradingView as the platform for that. So it's a really nice, great combination. The other little subtle benefit, if you've heard anything about prop trading, if you wanted to get access to more capital to trade stocks and options, there are firms that do that. I'll do some other videos in more detail about that, because that is a, if you're going to trade stocks, you might as well trade stocks with the benefit of a prop firm behind you. However, it's a lot more complicated than trading futures as an asset class, because if you trade stocks or options, a lot of the time you do have to have a deposit of between $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 with the firm that you're trading with. So that is a drawback to the whole point of looking to outside capital. And in the U.S., you do have to take a test too. You have to take a securities exam. I don't know about you, I don't like to do things like that. So check the pinned comment below, or the description below, for not only the timestamps if you made it to this point, but also for information where you can find out more about TopStep Trader, TradingView, and a really great deal that they have going on for a while now. I think it's like under $120 for as long as you're in the program. You can get access to all the data. You can look to try to get about $50,000 in buying power and capital. It's a really great opportunity. So anyway, Robinhood goes public today. I think Robinhood's a great story. We'll see where it goes as a company, and we'll see where it goes in terms of as an application and the services they provide. But until they add futures, it's not a good app as far as I'm concerned, if it's encouraging people to actively trade, because equities and equity options are not the ideal candidates for that. Consider futures for your consideration. That's what we do here at Futures Fanatic. And if you enjoyed this content, it'd be great if you could, again, subscribe to the channel, like the video, turn on the bell notification, and comment so we can keep a conversation going on about all the benefits of futures. That'll be it for tonight. My name is Rod, your Futures Fanatic, reminding you to stay green and trade like you mean it. Thanks.